Hi everybody! Today, Bezrat Hashem, I'll be going through 10 melachot, 10 activities that are not allowed to be done on Shabbat, and I'll be comparing them to the halachot of Yom Tov. I got the material from the book of Rabbi Falk. I'm doing it for the Shlom HaChayalim and Shlom HaShvuim, Bezrat Hashem. The first melacha that I'll be going through is plowing, which is choresh, which is getting the field ready for sowing, and that is not allowed on Shabbat and Yom Tov equally. The next melacha that I'd like to speak about is zorea, which is sowing. It is not allowed on Shabbat and Yom Tov equally, except when it comes to fully open flowers on Shabbat. If they fell out, you can return. On Yom Tov, if they fell out, you can return. Plus, you can add water to the existing water, which is what people do for the 4 minim on Sukkot. When it comes to harvesting, it is not allowed equally on Shabbat and Yom Tov. When it comes to piling fruits in the field, piling leaves in the field, it is forbidden Shabbat and Yom Tov equally. What about threshing? Threshing is when you remove the peel of the wheat from the wheat so that the wheat is going to be ready for grinding. That is not allowed, and anything similar to that is not allowed. The melacha of squeezing lemons, squeezing grapes, squeezing olives comes under the melacha of threshing of dash. It's part of dash. So if we say that on Yom Tov the law is letzorech ochel nefesh, anything that is needed for the food of the day is allowed, then I should be able to squeeze lemon on Yom Tov into my tea, isn't it? But Chazal said that you cannot squeeze lemon on Yom Tov, only in the Shabbos manner. The idea is that the melacha of threshing of dash is normally done liyamim merubim, on a long-term basis. So most of the dash that's done, most of the threshing is when or the squeezing is when they take olives and they prepare olive oil, and they take grapes and they make from it wine and grape juice. That is done for a long-term basis typically, and therefore the entire melacha was forbidden, because on Yom Tov you can only do melachot that can also be done for today's food consumption. So because this is normally done for long-term basis, even anything that is done for short-term basis, such as squeezing lemon onto your salad, is going to be problematic. So that's okay. You can just squeeze your lemon in a Shabbat manner on a salad, and if you really want your lemon in your tea, then just slice the lemon and then put the slices in the tea. How did I used to make fruit juices on Shabbat? I used to take lemons and slice them, oranges and slice them, and any fruits that I would find in the fridge that I would want to add, like pineapple, I would slice them and put them in a jug of water. I would add my healthy stevia to that, cold water, and serve it, and that would used to be the hit on Shabbat and Yom Tov. So that's about the threshing. Tea bags are also a problem. You definitely can use tea bags on Yom Tov, but you must be careful not to squeeze them when you are done with your tea bag. The halachot of molid, of creating a new kind of food, new shape or structure, texture of food on Shabbat, is not allowed, and on Yom Tov it is semi-allowed. So what am I talking about? On Shabbat you cannot make ice and you cannot melt ice, unless they say it's really absolutely boiling hot and you need the ice. And melting the ice is not allowed unless you put it already in some water or in some liquid, then it melts into that. But on Yom Tov, you cannot do a melacha of molid in an active way, such as crushing the ice, but you can make ice, and you can also melt ice. It doesn't have to be melted into a liquid. So that is the difference between Shabbat and Yom Tov in terms of creating a new texture from a fruit. So from a food item. So you can, on Yom Tov, you can melt butter, you can melt cheese, you can allow ice to be melted, you can make ice, which are things you cannot do on Shabbat. Next melacha is winnowing, when you take the flour and you throw it in the air, and then the stones would fall closer and the wheat will fall further and the peel will fall somewhere else, all depending on the weight. And that's how they used to select their wheat and other grain. So winnowing, you can hear that it is not allowed on Yom Tov. Now, what about boyer selecting? This is really, really practical, so I think you're going to like it. When it comes to selecting, there are 3 different kinds of selecting of boyer. There is a kind of selecting that you do on a long-term basis, typically as in when they used to select through wheat and take out the stones. So that is normally done on a long-term basis, not done just before the meal. And therefore this would be forbidden anyway. Baruch Hashem, it's not practical nowadays. Number 2 is a selection that did exist before Yom Tov. You could have easily selected it before Yom Tov, but you didn't have time, or you didn't feel like it. So therefore, if you then want to select it on Yom Tov, you do it in a Shabbos manner. So for example, you want to select rice. You want to go through rice, make sure that it's clean on Yom Tov. But you couldn't be bothered on doing it on Erev Yom Tov. It was too busy. Came Yom Tov, then you can do it in a Shabbos manner. What is a Shabbos manner of selecting? That would be you take good from the bad, not bad from the good. So you're going to be selecting the good. You're not going to take out the bad. You're going to leave that behind. Good from the bad with your hand and not with a special utensil. Anyway, you select by hand and close to the meal. So it doesn't have to be half an hour before the meal. It can be the period that it takes you to prepare the meal. It could be even 5 hours before the meal. You might need 5 hours to prepare the meal. So that Samuch LeSeuda period, close to the meal period, starts 5 hours before. So something that you could have easily done on Erev Yom Tov, but you didn't, then you just do it in the Shabbos manner. It's not a big deal. You select good from the bed with your hand and not with a special utensil, and close to the meal. And therefore that's how you're going to select clothes that were mixed before Yom Tov, if you want to select them on Yom Tov, fruits and vegetables. This is number 2. So number 1 is selecting that's done normally on a long-term basis, like stones from the wheat. That's not allowed. Selecting that could have been done easily on Erev Yom Tov, but you didn't. So you just select it on Yom Tov in a Shabbos manner. And lastly, a mixture that happened on Yom Tov. That is not a problem at all to select on Yom Tov in the normal way, in the easy way. So fruits got mixed up on Yom Tov, toys got mixed together on Yom Tov, cutlery you washed got all mixed on Yom Tov. You want to strain soup on Yom Tov with a sieve or with a special slated spoon. It's not a problem at all. Okay, so if you have, for example, a teapot with a sieve and you put your tea bags in there, now you're going to be using a vessel to be doing the selection on Yom Tov. It's not a problem because this selection was happened on Yom Tov. You created the selection on Yom Tov, and that is absolutely fine. When it comes to preparing tea on Yom Tov, you mustn't be tearing the tea bags from each other. And as we said before, when it comes to squeezing, you cannot be squeezing the tea bag on Yom Tov. Obviously, all of this has got very deep reasons. It's not like I'm not going into the reasons. There's a lot of Kabbalah involved here. You just know that there is a lot of depth to it. It's not like nitty-gritty, all sorts of things that people made up. Chas v'shalom, definitely not. The melacha of toichen, of grinding, is similar to the melacha of boyer. So toichen, that's typically done for a long-term basis. Like if you grind your wheat, people don't grind the wheat just before the meal. They grind the wheat. They used to grind the wheat and then leave it in storehouses for a long time. So you cannot do these kind of things on Yom Tov, because on Yom Tov you can only do melachot that are typically done on that day for that day, and enjoying it on the day of Yom Tov. That's number one. Number two, melacha that toichen or mashing, grinding, that could have easily been done on Erev Yom Tov, but you didn't. Then you just do it the Shabbos manner. You just do it with a shinui. So if you have potatoes that you cooked on Erev Yom Tov and you knew that you want to serve it as mash, and you didn't mash it on Erev Yom Tov, then you just mash it on Yom Tov in the Shabbos manner with a shinui. So the shinui that I used to make, that I normally make on Shabbat, the different mena, shinui is a different mena. Like if I want to mash ever on Shabbat, I would mash it on directly on the surface, and I would explain to the guests what I'm doing. Obviously, I would clean the surface nicely before, or you can mash with the back of the spoon, the back of the knife. That is a Shabbos manner of mashing. But on Yom Tov, you're allowed to mash, and that would be category number 3. Anything that it was not ready before Yom Tov, like the potatoes you only cooked on Yom Tov, or it would have lost some of its freshness had you mashed it on Yom Tov, had you mashed it on Erev Yom Tov, had you grounded it on Erev Yom Tov, like some seasoning. I know that some people like to grind them on Yom Tov so that they're really fresh, like nutmeg, for example. So if it's much fresher, if you do it on that day, then it's the tzorech, it's the need of that day. So anything that could not have been done on Erev Yom Tov because it didn't exist, you didn't cook the potatoes, or it wouldn't be fresh if you mash it before Yom Tov or grind it before Yom Tov, then you should rather avoid and do it. You can do it definitely on Yom Tov, and sorry about rather avoid. You can do it on Yom Tov in a normal manner, so you don't have to mash your evo on a surface, your kitchen counter, but rather you can mash it in a normal way on a plate. And baby's food that needs to be fed fresh, you do it in a normal way on Yom Tov. And the carrots, it's better if it is grated fresh. You can use a grater. You can use a sieve. The sieve is for boiler, for selecting. You can use a grater for grinding on Yom Tov. You can use a potato peeler on Yom Tov. And that is done in a normal way, because either it didn't exist before Yom Tov, or it would have lost from its freshness. The idea is to eat fresh, nice, delicious food on Yom Tov. The last melacha that I'd like to bring up today is the melacha of lash, of kneading. That is absolutely allowed. Making a dough, creating a dough on Yom Tov, making techina on Yom Tov, making a knedelach on Yom Tov. It's absolutely fine. So I wish you a beautiful Yom Tov, and please God, we will be doing the rest of the 39 melachot next time, Bezrat Hashem. Sending you much love.